Hello, welcome to the Daily English News program on Azərbaycan Televiziya. I'm Qocaman. President İlham Aliyev signed an executive order on the additional measures in respect to the supply of cultivation areas with irrigation water and meeting the demand of the population for potable water in Cəlilabad, Lənkəran, Masallı and Yaradılıb regions. According to the executive order, 840,000 manats from the 2021 state budget is allocated to Azərbaycan Amelioration and Water Management Open Joint Stock Company to improve the supply of cultivation areas and courts used for cultivation, as well as to design and dig 12 sub-artesian wells to meet the demand of the population for potable water in 12 residential settlements with 33,550 inhabitants in Cəlilabad, Lənkəran, Masallı and Yaradılıb regions. President İlham Aliyev continues to receive messages of congratulations on the occasion of the 28th of May, the Republic Day. President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Sadir Japarov, Director General of ISISCA, Salim bin Mohammed Al-Malik, addressed letters of congratulations to President İlham Aliyev and extended their best wishes of prosperity and welfare to President and the people of Azerbaijan. A letter was sent to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on measures to restore the internationally recognized border between Azerbaijan and Armenia. The letter sent by Azerbaijan's permanent representative to UN, Yashar Aliyev, with Azerbaijani Foreign Ministry press service informs that the film crew was blown up by anti-tank mine in the village of Susuzluq of the Kəlbəcər district on June 4th. It's also emphasized that the week before the tragic incident, 6 Armenian soldiers who crossed the state border of Azerbaijan were detained by Azerbaijani servicemen. These events remind the importance of continuing measures to restore the internationally recognized border between Azerbaijan and Armenia and strengthening the border security system conducted in accordance with international law and trilateral statement signed on November 10, 2020. Unfortunately, most international organizations limited themselves to only dry statements in connection with the tragedy. No demands were made against Armenia, which is responsible for the explosion. No accusations were made against it.
Two of our fellow journalists who filmed the consequences of Armenian vandalism in the territories liberated from the occupation in order to bring this to the attention of the world community, became victims of another barbarism of Armenians, mine terror. Despite the fact that a number of international organizations have issued statements in connection with the tragedy, it is possible to track the cold-blooded approach and the desire to maintain a balance, which is not characteristic to the situation. Organizations that usually act as human rights defenders and journalists are content this time with dry condolences. For example, the statement by the OSCE representative on freedom of media, Teresa Ribeiro, in connection with the terrorist act says, "The tragic deaths of Muharrem Ibrahimov and Siraj Abushev is terrible news. I convey my deepest condolences to their relatives and colleagues." Apparently, the OSCE representative, even after such a terrorist act, does not want to offend Armenia, which has targeted civilians by means of invincible killers, mines. The Committee to Protect Journalists, headquartered in New York, called the deaths of journalists as a result of mine explosion an unnecessary tragedy. Quote, "We call on all parties in this region to ensure the safety of journalists while they are on duty." End of quote. As you can see, Armenia, which planted mines in the land like seeds during the liberation of territories and is unwilling to provide maps of minefields, thereby ignoring international conventions, is not even mentioned here. Expressing concern about Christian monuments in the territories of Azerbaijan liberated from the occupation, UNESCO also remains completely silent on this issue. This is all despite the fact that it is the UN documents that require the unconditional provision of maps of mine territories to the opposite side. And the Reporters Without Borders organization, which positions itself as the guardian of the rights of journalists, apparently has no limit to dishonor and bias. The organization's response to the terror deaths of two journalists is deeply regrettable. Quote, "Reporters Without Borders is saddened by this horrific news and calls on authorized representatives of both sides to ensure the protection of journalists in these territories." End of quote. As can be seen from the statement, the organization does not recognize borders, almost trying to lay the responsibility on Azerbaijan, and it becomes clear that the killers of Siraj and Muharrem are not only those who lay mines, but also those who demand freedom for Armenian saboteurs who penetrate the territory of Azerbaijan to try to commit terrorist acts.
Deputy of the prosperous Armenia faction of the Armenian parliament, Naira Zohrabyan, confessed that exhibits of Shusha were withdrawn some days ago, the liberation of Shusha from the occupation. Sharing the photo of driver Armen Khachatryan, who took exhibits to Armenia, the deputy wrote on her Facebook page that at night on November 1st, he carried exhibits of Shusha Carpet Museum to Yerevan History Museum National Gallery. In total, 160 carpets, rugs, 30 pottery dishes, 50 paintings were stolen from Shusha. On June 7th, a phone conversation was held between Azerbaijani Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov and Foreign Minister of Turkey Mevlut Cavusoglu. The ministers exchanged views on existing situation in the region as well as implementation of trilateral statements. During phone conversation, the agenda of bilateral cooperation was also discussed. 32 more cases of coronavirus infections have been recorded in Azerbaijan, while 221 people have been recovered and discharged from the hospital. 4 patients have died after testing positive for COVID-19. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 334,747, with 327,114 recoveries and 4,945 deaths. The number of active infections is 2,688. To detect infection cases overall, 3,572,418 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan. The task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.